Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What is up, you guys? Man, frustrating loss for the Mets tonight. Really, really frustrating loss for the Mets. And honestly, as I was watching this game and we're going through it, my emotions changed a lot because the Mets lineup just got completely shut down by Michael Lorenzen. I mean, no two ways about it. The dude threw 7 innings of 1-run ball. He got 3 ground out double plays against the Mets. Anytime he did get into trouble, he escaped that way. I mean, Lorenzen completely neutralized the Mets lineup from start to finish. And so initially my frustration was with the Mets lineup, of course. You got Shamania coming in of relief for Freddie Peralta. You know, a mixed bag from both of those guys, and we will get into it all. But then the way these last 2 innings ended, in the 8th and in the 9th specifically, even a little bit there in the 7th inning as well, where the Mets were looking to get back into it, or I'm sorry, the 6th, the Mets just kept hitting rockets all over the field. And the Rockies were right there to catch them all. And you know what? That's baseball, Susan. Sometimes that's just the case. You know, hit them where they ain't is the old expression. And I think that one's pretty applicable to how these final 2 innings plus went for the Mets. As we know, in the 8th there, Mark Vientos, a chance after Brett Beatty's 2-run single makes it a 1-run game, 4-3. Vientos hits a rocket off of Antonio Sensaleta on the second pitch that he throws out of the bullpen. And you're thinking that's up the middle. The Mets are about to take the lead. Instead, it gets the Mets doubled off of second base, rally over, and then even in the 9th inning, a rocket off the bat from Marcus Semien to right field that is just 5 feet short of the wall for a potential game-tying homer. Another one off the bat of Carson Bench, and then finally, yes, MJ Melendez in a pinch-hitting spot strikes out swinging to end this game. But man, it was a frustrating loss in a couple different ways. But again, like I said, in the beginning, it just felt like, you know, the Mets lineup was anemic, as we've unfortunately seen it be so many times throughout this season, not including yesterday, obviously, where they put up 10 runs. But then you have the Rockies swinging bunt single from Tovar to set up first and second there in the 5th inning against Freddie Peralta. Another one in the 7th that just barely floats over Ronnie Mauricio's head when Shamania was in. And then, of course, a ball hitting off of second base and going past Marcus Semien into the outfield for a base hit to set up another run-scoring opportunity for the Rockies. I mean, I'm sorry, the baseball gods were on the Rockies' side in this one. And please don't take me for sour grapes. Don't call me, you know, being a sore loser. It's nothing like that. The Mets needed to play better today. They hit into 3 ground ball double plays. But, man, they couldn't catch a bounce tonight. And it was very, very annoying to have to watch. But in the end, it is a loss. The Mets' 2-game winning streak has come to an end, and they have dropped the opener with the weekend series from Colorado. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Guys, what's up? Tony Metro, you know the drill. Daily Mets content here on the channel. We do post-game Mets streams after every single game. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you are not already for that Daily Mets content. Leave a like on this video as well. Go ahead and do that now. If you're watching on X, you could head over to YouTube if you want to join the chat over here. I know we probably got a bunch of people in here already. And again, if you guys want to call into the show, we've gotten calls in the past couple of games. So would love to hear your guys' take on tonight and just overall about the Mets. You could do that by going to my Discord. Link to that is in the description of the YouTube video down below. You could also just type in the characters right here below me and the social media logos if you want to do that. So I will keep my eye on that. But first, let's go to the chat. Safely Anonymous, fire Mendoza. Man, what did Mendoza do wrong tonight? Mendoza did nothing wrong tonight. I mean, the Mets hit into 3 ground ball double plays today. I mean, Mendoza did nothing wrong tonight. He went to Manaea there with 2 outs in the 6th. He finishes the inning with a strikeout. And I guess the plan, honestly, from there was have Manaea try and give you the rest of the evening. You know, soak up the rest of this game for you. And, you know, unfortunately, yeah, he ran into some trouble. He gave up the run there or the 2 runs there in the 7th, but finishes with 7 strikeouts in this game. So, I mean, he really had no other decisions to make, Carlos Mendoza, outside of when he was going to pull Freddie Peralta and who he was going to go to after that. I mean, it's not the night to say fire Mendoza, in my opinion, on that one. Safely says Mets gave up too much for Peralta, who isn't going to re-sign with the team. Hey, look, it's not a super eye-popping final line for Freddie. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Like I said, and again, please don't take it as me making excuses, because I am not, but man, the ball just wasn't rolling the Mets' way. Like I said, in both of their run-scoring innings for the Rockies, you got one ball hitting off a second base in front of Marcus Semien and trickling out into the outfield for a base hit. The next scoring opportunity for the Rockies, a swinging bunt single down the third base line for Tovar. And I know Vientos had the exact same type of hit in the second inning that set up the Mets' run there from Brett Beatty, or I'm sorry, it was Benj. No. It doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying here. Anyway, it was the double play from Marcus Semien. That's what it was. One of 3 ground ball double plays. But yeah, look, it was not a great outing for Peralta, but I have to take into account some of that. He had 8 strikeouts. That was nice to see. But yes, it has been a major struggle for him to get through 6 innings. We know a lot of trolls and even a lot of Mets fans after the trade said 5-inning Freddie, 5-inning Freddie. And, you know, I wanted to see it before I was ready to believe that. But to this point, yeah, you can't deny it. He's had trouble getting through 6 innings in all of his starts this year. But right now, 3.90 earned run average over 6 starts. Look, the Mets offense has barely given him any run support. I'm not saying that would improve things a lot, but I do think you pitch a little differently when you have a nice, comfy 3-4 run lead. A little bit of breathing room where you don't have to be absolutely perfect on every single pitch. You could pitch to a little bit of contact and maybe get away with some stuff. So I get it. Not the sexiest, best start from Freddie Peralta of all time, but, you know, one that you have an opportunity to win if your lineup didn't only finally wake up in the 8th, only to, unfortunately, hit into some tough luck there against Senzaletta the way that day did. William Aforit says, right now, I wouldn't re-sign Peralta. We already have enough 5-inning pitchers. Guys, I don't know if you understand. Look, it's probably not a good day for me to say, but there's not a ton of guys that are consistently going out and giving you 6 or 7 innings these days. I mean, not a good day for me to say it because Michael Lorenzen just chucked against the Mets for 7 innings. But, I mean, he came into this game with an ERA over 5 or 6 or something like that. Like, it's just not that common in modern baseball anymore to get a consistent 7-inning starter. And look, I know there are some out there. And of course, yeah, I want my starters to go deep, but it's a different game. So, look, it's not a great start. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but I think the expectations kind of need to change, not just for Freddie Peralta, but for the modern day starter, because really they don't go deep like they used to anymore. You see how many innings these guys finish with in a full 30 start season over 162, and they're at like 180, 185. It's no more 200, 215. Like, that's not a thing of the past. So again, don't take it as me trying to be a homer or defend the Peralta or whatever, you know, pitcher on the Mets staff, but it's just a different baseball game than it was even 10 years ago. Safely says Wally Backman, Beltran, Alfonso all need to be next manager. All 3 of them will be the manager at the same time. Is that what we're going to do? A little trio of managers. It'll be Wally, Beltran, and Edgardo Alfonso. Interesting choice. All right. He says Mets traded Crow Armstrong. What the hell? Pete Crow Armstrong is hitting 242 right now and has an OPS below 700. So I don't know what we're talking about here. EJ Red says 88 or 83 and 79. That would be the same record as last year. Oof. Yeah, that would be pretty rough considering all the changes the Mets made in the offseason to try and improve this team and get them back to postseason play. But look, it's a frustrating game for sure. I'm really irritated with how the Mets lineup looked against Lorenzen. Again, like I said, a guy that came into this game with a hyper-bloated earned run average on the season. And unfortunately, that has been the case far too many times over the last couple of years with the Mets. I mean, even with a different group of players, a guy coming in with really bad numbers or has pitched really poorly recently, and it seems like the recipe to fix them is facing a Mets lineup. And I can't understand why, because they have changed the players. They have changed hitting coaches. They have changed a director of hitting philosophy for the entire organization, top to bottom. And yet here we are again talking about a game where we felt like you probably should have got to the starting pitcher, but Lorenzen kept the Mets on the ground a ton. I mean, like I said, 3 ground ball double plays in this one, 4 total, not including the line out from Vientos there in the 8th that looked like it was going to tie it. But even on the Mets run scoring opportunity there in the 2nd, it was 1st and 2nd with nobody out. Semien hits a ball hard to the right side. Again, you want to talk about tough luck. Semien hit that ball on the screws to the right side of the infield, and the second baseman is just perfectly positioned to field it on a hop and turn the 4-6-3. Yes, the Mets get the run home, but it really obviously stalled out that scoring opportunity that they had there. Then you go to the 5th inning, and it's the bottom of the lineup getting things going for the Mets. Tyrone Taylor with a base hit. Ronnie Mauricio with a hit. You got 1st and 3rd. Mets are now tied with the Rockies at that point, and you get the 6-4-3 first pitch swing from Bo Bichette, and that ends that rally right there. The Rockies take the lead the next half inning. It's now 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Juan Soto starts things out with a base hit, and Francisco Alvarez rolls into a double play to the third baseman. I mean, look, it was, as much as I want to talk about the, unfortunate events that kind of, hurt the Mets in this one, they also did not do themselves any favor by hitting into 3 ground ball double plays and squashing a couple of scoring opportunities there. And the Rockies did the exact opposite. They took advantage of some of their good fortune. Like I said, the swing bunt single, the ball off the bag at second base, that scored the runs in the 5th and in the 6th inning to get them the 2 and put them ahead of the Mets. And then in the 7th inning, obviously, Sean Manaea just really had a rough go of it there. So we're going to talk about him and about Freddie's night, but that's my thoughts on the lineup. Unfortunately, like I said, the 8th inning, you get leadoff hit from Ronnie Mauricio. You get a base hit from Bo Bichette. Soto hits into a line drive right at the first baseman that nearly doubles Bo Bichette off of first base to end the rally there, or not end the rally, but 2 outs. You get a base hit from Francisco Alvarez, a little duck fart to load the bases. The 2-run single from Beatty. It's 4-3. Momentum is fully shifting toward the Mets. They go to Senzaletta out of the bullpen to the Rockies. And on the second pitch, man, again, Vientos just hit a piss missile back up the middle. That before metrics and analytics and the shifting of players on the infield is 1,000% going into right center field for a base hit, and the Mets are tied probably with runners at the corner. So it's a frustrating game. It's, one that, look, if the Mets just could have performed in one of those other opportunities and not rolled into a double play, that they probably win, but them's the break sometimes, unfortunately. So let's go to the chat here. Let's see who we got. Edward Christian Aquan is here. What is up? Crimson Angel. Damn, Tony. Tough one for the Mets tonight. It is. Without a doubt, Crimson, man. You got that beautiful catch from Carson Benj as well in this game, and that was really sweet to see. He got Freddie out of a little jam there, which was great, but it's a tough one, man, again. And the Rockies are an improved team. They nearly just won all 4 games, swept the Padres at home this past week before coming to Citi Field, but they're still kind of the Rockies. Like, they're a decent team. They're much better than what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years from them, but it's a team that the Mets should be taking care of business against. You win the next 2 games and I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling happy about that, but yeah, I definitely wanted to sweep, and I said the same thing about the Nationals, who come up on this homestand after this weekend. So I would really like to see them win these final 2 games, Saturday and Sunday, and then you got to go do the same at a minimum 2 out of 3 versus Washington, if not sweep the Nationals. And I could feel positive that they are back in the right direction, but this one definitely kind of makes me rethink that a little bit, without a doubt. So Joe Saturn, so far not impressed with Freddie. Understandable. It's understandable. It hasn't been, the dominant type of Freddie Peralta that we were hoping we would get so far. I get it. I do wonder if, the contract negotiations, not having an extension done, is something that might be looming or hanging over his head right now. We heard from Stearns, we heard from Peralta. Neither of them are going to discuss it with the media at this point, and I can't imagine a deal is going to get done. It wouldn't really make sense unless, the Mets think that buying low on him and would be a good deal right now. But I understand what you're saying, Joe. Safely anonymous, Pete Crow is faster, cheaper, more durable than Robert Jr. I mean, guys, Pete Crow Armstrong, the trade was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Like, can we let it go? And he's hitting 242. And his OPS is below 700. Like, come on. We got to let it go. It's Pete Crow Armstrong. It's not Shohei Ohtani, okay? Like, we did not trade, like, some superstar face of baseball, all right? Come back to me if he's hitting 300 and if he has a 790 or whatever, an 850 OPS and 50 stolen bases, yes, I'll give it to you. I mean, in a vacuum, of course, yeah. Pete Crow Armstrong is better because he's younger and he's cheaper and he's a better defender than Robert. But this was a trade made 3 regimes ago from the Mets front office. So we've got to get off of that. Let's see. Storm Shadow, this is who Freddie is. Well, he will not beat the allegations until he changes the outcome. So I cannot argue it and I cannot deny it. Freddie has got to give more. He has got to give you 6. But let's be honest, if he gave us 6 shutout innings there or 6 one-run innings there, you're still going to Sean Manaea likely at some point. And who knows when he has that blow-up inning. He gives up 2 runs there. And unfortunately, that does ultimately become the difference in this game. So he also did well to get Freddie out of a little bit of a jam there with 2 runners aboard and striking out the final batter there of the 6th inning. So we cannot have our cake and eat it too, is all I'm trying to get at. It's, an all-around loss. I think you could put blame on everybody a little bit. Peralta could have been better. Sean Manaea could have been better. And the Mets lineup most certainly could have been better in this game. So that's how I'm taking it. A team loss for sure. Let's see. Joseph and Delicado, he says they need to stop with the first pitch swinging, need to make pitchers work. I mean, Michael Lorenzen's pitch count was at like 65 in the 6th inning. And I didn't feel like they were chasing too much early in the count or anything. But then when I noticed that, I was like, yeah, they definitely haven't been the most patient bunch. But Lorenzen was good today, man. He filled up the zone. He had some pretty good breaking stuff. And look, the Mets, they just hit the ball on the ground. They pounded it into the ground a lot. And the Rockies made a couple decent plays out in the field as well. So it's one of those nights, guys. It just is one of those nights, in my opinion. Let's see. MP3 is the devil. That's why Nolan's the best pitcher for us. Well, there's no arguing that. Nolan McLean is the best pitcher on this Mets pitching staff. That is inarguable. I will not try and fight you on that one. So Nico says this team's a mess. So many players out of or incapable of playing a position. Not enough power. Bad starting pitching except for McLean. Bad closers, etc. David Stern's masterpiece. Man, 2 wins in a row. I thought maybe we'd come off the ledge a little bit. I mean, I can't even be upset about the guys being out of position because defense has not been the big issue for this team. It has been the lineup. The Mets aren't scoring. And if you want to make the argument that guys playing new positions, trying to learn that, having some pressure on them in that regard is taking away from their focus and their normal numbers at the plate, okay. But there's no tangible physical evidence I can look at that shows me that. What tangible evidence I do have in front of me is a lineup that is just not doing its job more nights than it is. So, I mean, talk about the lineups. You could talk about Devin Williams. You could talk about Brooks or Luke Weaver, but at the end of the day, the lineup has been the culprit pretty much from the jump here. They have been, in my opinion, the reason for the majority of this team's losses this year, and not because of poor defense and guys being out of position or even the starting pitchers. They have had their blow-ups, there's no doubt. So have some of the relievers. But the lineup, in my opinion, continues to be the biggest issue for this team. Jose Lopez Moya, well, the Mets are back to normalcy. And guys, what if we go win the next 2 games this weekend? Now, I'm not saying they will, because knowing the Mets, they'll probably kill us this whole weekend against the Rockies. It'll be like pulling teeth. But what if they go win the next 2 games? You did your job. And yeah, we need to get greedy at some point and start sweeping some teams and go on a nice winning streak. That has to happen when you lose 12 in a row and fall as far behind as the Mets have to this point. Yes, but right now, stack some series W's. And this was a winnable game, no doubt. But I will change my feeling if they can go win tomorrow and go win Sunday. With Nolan McLean on the mound, I feel pretty good about that. You better cross your fingers, light some sage, and do whatever you can for Kodai Senga tomorrow, obviously. I don't know what to say about it at this point, but, you know, just go win some series, and hopefully the W's continue to pile up. That's the job right now for the Mets. Let's see. Biscuits Chooch, Tony, what is up, man? He says, legend, dark times, but keep positive. Give Mookie a hug, LGM. I will. Mookie will definitely get a hug, man. I appreciate that. And look, we'll see. If the Mets follow up the 2 wins in a row that they just had from the Twins by dropping a series here with the Rockies, and then even if they only win 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, that would come out to what, a 5-4 homestand? That's absolutely not good enough. They got to do better, and they've already obviously now lost 2 games. So can you go 6-3? Can you win 2 of this series, the last 2, and then can you win 2 out of 3 against Washington? That's basically what you have to do now, is go win each of these series. And yeah, 6-3, it's not the best homestand considering the opponents that were on the schedule, but that's how you get back into this race and dig yourself out of the hole that you are in right now. Let's see, who else do we got here? I think I missed somebody. Did I? No, maybe not. Okay, cool. Mark Benjamin, double plays, killed the Mets tonight. Hit it where they ain't, boys. That's exactly what I said earlier, Mark. I don't know if you were in the stream or not, but 3 double plays on the ground, and then a 4th one just to add insult to injury. The line drive from Vientos on what looked like it was going to be the game-tying single, the 4th hit of the inning after Soto hit a line out and a couple batters before him. Man, I'm telling you, again, don't think I'm blaming this game just on bad luck for the Mets, but you have to admit there was some stuff in the universe working against the Mets in this game, between some of the hits that the Rockies got and then some of the hits the Mets put in play that were just right at guys in the outfield or in the infield for Colorado. Man, that was just, that sucked. Doug says, Stearns with that S-eating grin. I can't watch anymore. Getting too old for this. I get it. I'm getting too old for it too, and I'm only 31. Not only 31, I feel kind of old some days, but yeah, I get it, man. I do. They got to turn it around. Crimson, Mets can't catch a break. Can they with the highest payroll so far? The Dodgers just makes me question the contracts. They give it out like candy. Cohen, Stearns are to blame besides Mendoza and staff. I mean, look, there's no doubt about it. Some of the moves this offseason have not panned out. Jorge Polanco is on the injured list. You know, Marcus Semien is starting to come around, obviously, after the trade with Texas. Bo Bichette has most certainly come around, looked a lot better, even hit into, you know, a couple hard balls tonight, despite not having anything to show for it. 1 base hit, actually. But, yeah, man, I mean, even going further back to the previous offseason, you know, signing Sean Manaea to that extension. Now we have a $25 million question mark in the bullpen. Like, what do you do with Sean Manaea? Do you use him in these types of games where it's kind of close and you're hoping he could just save your bullpen? Or is he a mop-up guy? Is he a bulk guy on some days? Like, I don't know. Obviously, Frankie Montas, let's not get started on that. The free agent track record for David Stearns has not been good. Not at all. I think we can all agree to that. And, you know, we'll see if he's going to get another opportunity to do it this upcoming winter. We're still far ways away from that, but I will be the first to tell you, yeah, most of the free agent decisions that David Stearns has made have not panned out, at least not since that 2024 offseason. Or 23 into 24, getting Bader, signing Manaea where he had that really strong year, Severino, those kinds of names, obviously. Let's see, who else do we got? Safely says Stearns is so in over his head. I mean, we'll see. He's built that whole team in Milwaukee right now. You know, it's not like he didn't draft everybody that's on their major league roster right now. So we'll see. Crimson, wish McLean played every day because the starters and closers just can't get it together. Wouldn't that be nice? Just have McLean start every game, even if it's only an inning. Set the tone with Nolan McLean. Jose, the Mets need a manager who can inject the team some enthusiasm and hold everybody accountable, calling them out. There's really nothing to call out tonight. Like, there were no mistakes tonight. There were no like big errors or anything like that. There really weren't. So I can't be mad at Carlos Mendoza. I don't think he made any poor decisions in this game. The only thing I was questioning was if he was going to pinch hit MJ Melendez in the 8th inning when they brought in the righty Cinzaletta. They kept Vientos in, and again, he hit the ball on the screws. So outside of that, I don't know what else you could question. You know, he pulled Freddie after 2 outs in the 5th or in the 6th and went to Minaya. Minaya struck out that batter to strand 2. Minaya obviously is going to come back out for the 7th after that, and that's where he gave up his 2 runs. So I really can't nitpick anything on Carlos Mendoza, and on the individual level, I don't think any player really did anything wrong. Like, you hit into double plays. Yeah, it happens. It sucks. And yeah, you need to execute better, but it's not a mental or a physical mistake. It's baseball. It's baseball, Susan, like I said earlier. Let's see. Who else do we got? Storm Shadow, Cedric Mullins. Who is Cedric Mullins? Who are you telling us is the new Cedric Mullins on this team? I want them off immediately. Frankie. Oh, yeah, and trading for Cedric Mullins is what you're saying. Yes. I hear what you're saying now, Storm Shadow. Let's see. Crimson. Man, the Yankees are putting belt to ass on the cheating Stros, and they don't have more money than the Dodgers and Mets. That's wild. We'll see. The Yankees have a tendency to do this every year. Start hot, go into a cold streak where they play 500 or below 500 baseball for about 3 months. Then they get to face some AL Central teams and beef up in September, and then they choke in the playoffs. So, we'll see. Crimson, 12-2 Yanks. Jose says the Mets have to stop bringing the Yankees rejects. Okay. I guess, yeah, tonight's really not the night to talk about that. There were no Yankee quote-unquote rejects on the field at all tonight, but I get it. Yeah, Devin Williams was bad yesterday. Luke Weaver's been up and down, and we will see. It's a long season, but yeah, right now I get it. Safely Anonymous, Polanco signing so far is looking like Jason Bay bad. Well, nothing could ever be worse than Jason Bay. In my opinion, like, that is probably the worst free agent signing in my life as a Mets fan. I mean, just really tough signing with Jason Bay. I was young at the time. I think it was the 2010 off season before 2010. I remember the Mets came out with a promo video of this whole mantra of we believe in comebacks. We believe in RBIs. It would pan to a different player that, whatever position. We believe in, shutting down the opponents if it was Mike Pelfrey and if it was David Wright, who of course I cannot say anything bad about, but we believe in doubles down the line. We believe in comebacks. The 2010 Mets. That sucked. Jason Bay. What a bust. Had that concussion. It was just never the same. Oh, Jason Bay, who, by the way, the Mets drafted and traded to Pittsburgh for Jose Bautista, if you didn't know that, huh? How about that little wrinkle in Mets history? Sometime around 2002 or something, the Mets traded Jose Bautista. Wait, how did that go again? They traded Bautista to the Pirates, but the Mets also, I think, traded Jason Bay to the Pirates at some point. Someone fill me in. I don't know. My brain is melting. It's Friday, and the Mets just took a stupid, ugly, annoying loss. All right, I'm going to go over to the game and share my screen with you guys. We'll take a look at the box score here together. I want to run through the performances from the pitchers here today. Obviously, Freddie Peralta has been the topic of this stream for a long time. We haven't touched much on Sean Manaea, but we will talk a little bit about him as well. But look, Freddie came out, issued a walk there in the first inning, then gave up a base hit in the second inning, but each time was able to work around that. 33 pitches through the first 2 innings there for Freddie Peralta. He goes back out for the third, 1-2-3 inning. Pitch counts at 42. That was only a 9-pitch inning. And, this has kind of been the case for Freddie a lot this year, where I'm keeping track of how many pitches he's at the end of every inning. And it's in this 42 to 55 range by the third or by the fourth inning. And it's on track to complete 6 innings. But it's just seemingly every time there's the 5th or the 6th inning where he hits a wall and he runs into trouble. And it's not that he necessarily loses full command, but it's a base hit here, it's a walk there, it's, a sack bunt to move him over. Today you had in the 5th inning, base hit from, let's see, Doyle with one out, then a base hit to Moniak to put runners on first and third. Then you had the walk to Goodman that loaded the bases, and then from Rumfield again, I didn't even talk about this one yet, but another swinging bunt, and that was actually a fielder's choice that scored a run for the Rockies as it went up the first base line, and Peralta went to go pick it up and throw on to first for the fielder's choice, and that tied this game up. So again, I mean, it's just a tough luck loss in a lot of ways, in my opinion. Like, not to make excuses, but with Peralta, he comes back after he gets that fielder's choice put out and strikes out Freeman, looking to put that threat to bed. Goes out there for the 6th, ground out to Ronnie Mauricio to begin. Then he issues a walk there, and that's the run that ends up coming home against him, as it was a base hit. Then from Tovar, God, I can't stand this guy. The infield single, Tovar kills the Mets. Then it goes to McCarthy, who hits the double, and all of a sudden it's 2-1. He does bear down. He gets the strikeout of Doyle at the bottom of the order, and that's where his day ended. But again, it just seems like Freddie, even though he has been keeping relatively healthy pitch counts in the 3rd into the 4th inning, somewhere in the range of 40 to 50, and he looks like he's on pace to easily give you 6 innings. It just seems to have that one inning that really takes it out of him. And today it was the 5th. He had a 23 pitch 5th inning where the Rockies came back to tie this game up at 1 apiece. He got pushed back out for the 6th at 80 total pitches. He needed to basically finish it within 20, and he couldn't do it. And it's on his own. It's his own fault because he gives up the 1-out walk to Karros. And then, of course, the next 2 men get aboard as well. And all of a sudden it's 2-1. So, look, it's not the most impressive line or performance from Freddie Peralta. So I get why everyone in the comments here is talking about it and saying that they are not impressed and that they wouldn't give him the contract extension. Trust me, I get it. But, you know, I think the best is still yet to come with the guy. And again, a couple of swing and bunt singles, a ball hits off the second base bag at one point in both their run scoring innings. Like, the Mets didn't catch many breaks, okay? So, you know, we'll see. Oh, AMBR coming in with some great news, though, guys. The Phillies have lost 10 in a row. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, my. What if I had a 6th finger that I just popped off of here real quick? That is amazing news, AMBR. I am so happy about that. Does not ease the pain of the Mets losing tonight to the Rockies, but a little bit, actually. It does. A little bit, no doubt. Let me see. We got MP3 is the devil. Homie, I made some good points. I saw that for sure. I called you out, man. I gave you them. It's like they stopped trying after the 4th inning, you said earlier. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen that a ton this year. I've seen it last year and years past with different Mets teams, different managers. But yeah, no, it's definitely a real thing for sure. But tonight they really kind of turned it on there in the 8th. You know, they really started to rally a little bit even in the 6th there before Bo Bichette's strikeout, double play there to end the 5th inning, excuse me. Then you had the double play in the 6th inning from Alvarez. Then you had the 8th inning where it looked like they were about to make things happen, but obviously that line out double play from Vientos put that one to bed along with Soto's line out for the first out of the inning. So I saw a little bit of fight from them tonight, I'll be honest. Not in the first couple innings of this game, not while Michael Lorenzen was on the mound, that is for sure, but they didn't just lay down on their hands, go down 1, 2, 3, just like they have many other times this year. So I'll give you that, but I was actually, I can't say impressed, but I saw a little more fight and will out of this lineup in the last couple of innings than I feel like we have in a lot of these types of games where they fall behind 4-1 and it's like, all right, we'll just sit on our hands and just take the L, right? Let me see. Who else do we got? Mark Benjamin. Mets traded Nelson Cruz in the same era when they traded Bay. There you go. Hey, thank you, Steve Phillips and Jim Duquette, who you can catch on SMY postgame shows these days. Excellent moves by them. But meanwhile, now Steve Phillips got fired from being the Mets GM, has a total gripe with this team. I don't know what it is, but he makes a living picking on and trashing the Mets in his different media roles. Okay, Stevie boy. We know the history of Steve and some of the things he's done in his past. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. Jose Lopez can't extend a starter that runs out of gas by the 5th or 6th. poor move in the case of Peralta is what you're saying. Okay, I get it. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. I think if it was going to happen, the Mets would have gotten an extension done with Freddie in the offseason during spring training, and that didn't happen. And they said that they probably would not be doing any extensions with anybody. So I doubt that's going to be the case here. I would be really surprised if we see any extensions on the for anybody on this Mets team. Not that there's really anybody else that's due for one. All right, why can't I zoom in properly? Sorry, guys. Here's the Mets lineup. You got a base hit from Bichette, base hit from Soto. Alvarez with the knock there. That one in the 8th to keep the rally going. Tommy Pham pinch ran in this game. Luis Torrens did not come to the plate, but came in for defensive purposes. Good game for Beatty. Beatty has definitely looked really good this week. The home run yesterday, I think another knock in that one as well. Yeah, to set up that 8th inning rally and come around on the Bo Bichette double in the Mets win yesterday. And then today, the 2-run single again in the 8th inning. So Beatty has definitely picked it up. And you guys know I am his biggest critic, but you got to give him credit when he earns it. And he has definitely earned it this week. So nice to see that from Brett Beatty. Vientos with 2 knocks, an infield single, and then going the other way there. That was in the 8th inning, or I'm sorry, in the 6th, 7th. What inning was it? I think in the 7th inning. And then Carson Bench, hey, first of all, what an amazing catch. Did not think he had a chance to get to that ball, first of all. Second of all, makes the catch. Unbelievable catch by Carson Bench, who looked really, really good today at the plate. Just going the opposite field. We know he had the home run yesterday. Ron was talking about it on the broadcast tonight. Maybe got a little pull happy after that opening day home run. His swing got really long. It looked like the Carson Bench we saw of spring training. I think all of the outs he made were to the left side of second base today. He had the base hit, then he had a line drive to left field, then he had another pretty decent fly ball into left center field, and then his final out of the game was another line out to the center fielder. So love the opposite field approach from Benj. That is what got him the starting job on this team, and hopefully he's going back to that. Hit the ball with some authority today, even though he only has 1 for 4 to show for it. And hey, Ronnie Mauricio with 2 hits in this one. Pounded one into the ground, just barely got through the infield, and then another was off the end of the bat that just dunked in front of the right fielder. But nice to see Ronnie get 2 hits, handle all of his opportunities in the field cleanly. So that was good to see for sure. Let's talk about Sean Manaea. It is just such a weird situation that the Mets are in with this guy, because he had the year he had last year, and I won't rehash it. We know what happened. And then he came into spring training and said he was healthy. He said he was good to go, but the velocity below 90 miles per hour on his 4-seamer, obviously very concerning. And the results were not very good either. So he didn't make the cut on the 5-man rotation, and he's been in the bullpen ever since. And there's been some good and there's been some bad. Appearance to appearance. But also within these appearances, it seems like there's 2 different versions sometimes that we see of Manaea. And I think that was the case here tonight, because he comes in here in the 6th inning in relief of Peralta with 2 men aboard. And he gets a huge strikeout of the number 2 hitter in the Rockies lineup. At the top of the Rockies lineup in Mickey Moniak. That was huge. I mean, kept the game at 2-1 at that point. But then he goes back out for the 7th inning. Gives up the leadoff single to Goodman, hits Rumfield with the pitch. So now he got first and second. The sack bunt moved the guys over to second and third. He gives up a base hit. That scores 2, gives up another base hit. But then he goes on and he strikes out the next 2 batters to end the inning. Then he goes back out. He strikes out 3 in the 8th inning, working around a leadoff walk. And then he goes back out for the 9th, gets a fly out to center field, and strikes 2 more guys out to put the top of the 9th to bed. He finishes with the final line of 3 1/3 innings of work. He gives up the 2 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks plus the hit batsman, but he also strikes out 7 guys. And it's just an enigma with Sean Manaea. Not only what do we do with him, essentially a $25 million guy that we kind of use at different times from the bullpen, but even the performance within each game, batter to batter, inning to inning, it's just super confusing. I can't figure out what he is. He's this fastball slider guy who still doesn't have very much velo on his fastball. It's still topping out at about 90, and we've all basically at this point just accepted it. and then the slider that he's still throwing from that 3/4 arm slot. And sometimes it looks nasty and effective. And other times he's hitting the second guy of the inning like he did in the 7th tonight and setting up a 2-run rally for the Rockies. So I don't know what the Mets should do with Sean Manaea at this point. I don't know if maybe they want to give him a shot to start finally. If Kodai Senga has a poor start tomorrow, do they do that? We know the Mets sent Christian Scott down today and called Carl Edwards Jr. up. Try to say that 5 times fast. Called Carl Edwards Jr. up. All right, it's not that hard. So we know that David Peterson is going back into the rotation now. He will make the next scheduled start that's available. So I don't know what you do with Sean. I would be willing to give him a start and see how it goes. We haven't seen him get that opportunity yet this year. He's been okay out of the bullpen, but he's not been great either. But the velocity's still down. Control has still kind of been an issue, his command. So, man, it is, like I said, an enigma with Sean Manaea. But, you know, he kept them in this game despite the 2 runs. Again, the offense wasn't doing a whole lot. They came to life late, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. So let's go to the chat really quick, and then we are going to wrap things up, guys. I think everyone wants to go enjoy their Friday night as much as they can after a stupid Mets loss like that. But let's see. Thank you again, A and BR, for letting me know the Phillies have lost 10 in a row. I really want them to get to 13. I want them to have worse than what the Mets had. MP3 is the devil. McLean's the ace. Bo is going to be a great for the Mets. Just give it time. Bo has looked great. Much more comfortable in a Mets uniform these last 2 weeks. Much more comfortable at the plate. Still would like to see him exhibit a little more patience in some chances like we saw there in the 5th inning where he hit first pitch into a double play up the middle. But beggars can't be choosers right now. He's been looking much better. And McLean is the ace. There's no doubt about that, man. I am looking forward to every Nolan McLean start. Let's see. Joe Saturn, when do you think we will call up more prospects? Well, there is no room on the Mets roster right now, right? Jorge Polanco's on the injured list. We'll see for how long with the right wrist contusion. Lindor is obviously out for the next, we'll see, maybe 2 months. That's awful. Hopefully not, but that's kind of how it sounds. He's going to be in a walking boot, the Mets reported today. There's really no positions open for any of the Mets' top prospects. A.J. Ewing is continuing to rake for AAA. He just hit another home run. That has been one of the big things on his resume. He needed to try to beef up his power, and he's got, I think, now 4 home runs already this year. So great to see that. Nick Morbido is a guy that could be ready soon, but he's an outfielder. So I guess if you want to swap him out with MJ Melendez in that role, but how many opportunities does he get then? And then, I just made a video about Ryan Clifford, who had 4 home runs in the previous 5 games as of yesterday. Is he an option at first base? Maybe. Now Vientos is kind of looking a little bit better than he did, this time a week ago. But do they want to give Clifford an opportunity? Kid's only 22 years old. He only played in like 40-something games so far in his career at AAA, and he has a big strikeout issue. So, Joe, to answer your question, unless we're talking pitching prospects and we're going to dip into that and to replace some of these bullpen arms, which I'm okay with, that'd be great. I don't really see many opportunities for that to happen. But hopefully they'll start going into some of those guys when they need them, and we don't go with these retreads of the Carl Edwards Jr.'s, the Craig Kimbrells, the Richard Loveladies, who we know the Mets traded to the Nationals about this time a week ago. So Crimson says, why didn't Luis Robert Jr. come in to pinch it late in the game? Tony, just a thought. That is a good thought, and they did mention that on the broadcast. Gary asked Ron about it, and so we've heard so much about the Mets trying to be preventative of any type of injuries for Robert. And Gary essentially said, do you think this is like an off day for Luis Robert Jr.? And they discussed it, and that could be the case. There are days where Robert is out. He's not coming in to pinch hit. They don't want him doing anything. And honestly, as much as I want to keep Luis Robert Jr. healthy, if you need a big at-bat somewhere, if you need a pinch runner to potentially tie a game, the Mets need to be willing to use this guy, because I'm sorry, like, he's not going to hit 35 home runs in 125 games anyway. He's just not. He's a good player. Maybe he'll pop 20, but you can't just have a guy who only can play for your team 4 out of every 6 games, and in those other 2 is just completely unavailable off the bench. You just can't have that. You can't play with a 3-man bench. So I hope that will change, and maybe this is a ramp-up period. It's still early. The weather's still heating up, and maybe eventually that changes, but that's kind of the gist of what I gathered from everything, is that this was like an off day for Luis Robert. He's not touching a bat. He's not going into pinch run. Maybe special circumstances could have changed that, but not a bad call at all, Crimson. Jose Lopez, Stingy Stearns will use this poor season as an excuse to dismantle the whole team. Mark my words. Aren't you mad about the team we currently have? Wouldn't you want him to do that? I mean, we can't have it both ways. Crimson Bench had the play of the week. Shame they lost the game. He's getting better every game, slowly heating up. He has looked really good. I'm really happy about the approach we've seen from him at the plate, and then obviously that defense. I mean, we saw the diving catch about I don't even remember what series that was. They all blended together during that 12-game losing streak. But yeah, Bench has looked really good at the plate and in the field for sure. Jose Luis Robert is being pampered by Mendoza. This is a top to bottom decision from the front office, I believe, this whole rest thing. It's not just Mendy, but I get it. I get how it looks. It's optics. Crimson says, Tony, should the Mets send Manaea to AAA after his performance tonight? He does not have an option. So the Mets cannot just send him to AAA. He would have to accept a minor league assignment. And honestly, he wasn't terrible today. He struck out 7 big league hitters. Gave up the 2 runs. That 7th inning was kind of ugly, but, there's nothing you could do with him. Like I said, I'd be interested to see how he would do starting. Just give it a shot at this point, because we've seen the worst of David Peterson in the starting role. We've seen the worst of Kodai Senga in a starter's role. Let's see what you got in Sean Manaea, I guess, and keep it short and sweet. Even if it's only 4 or 5 innings, try to build him up from there. See if he can kind of return to 2024 second half Sean Manaea. But, I'm willing to basically go and try anything at this point and see what sticks with these guys. But guys, it is a tough loss for the Mets tonight. One that frustrated me for different reasons. Like I said in the beginning of the game, the Mets lineup just totally lifeless. But in the end, obviously, there was some really tough luck in this one. And again, not the ultimate reason that they lose this game. They needed to be better at the plate in this one and not hit into 3 double plays. But tomorrow's a new day. And if you win 2 out of 3, I will be okay. But you cannot lose this series. No pressure, right? Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to call it here. Appreciate you tuning in, though. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Daily Mets content, post-game Mets streams after every single game. Leave a like on this video. Really appreciate that as well. And if you're watching on X, you can go over to YouTube and do all of that as well. Otherwise, you can catch me on Twitter. And guys, we'll have another post-game stream after tomorrow's game. There's going to be some inclement weather, so who knows if we get it in. Doubleheader Sunday, anybody? Could be fun, right? That's going to do it, though, guys. Till next time, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.